Amazing strategical decisions, a lot of complicated strategy, brilliant chess attack, and the cute sacrifice in the end of this game. Everything is here, everything is inside. Let's learn from Vladimir Kramnik how to better play chess. I believe this game is lost and forgotten, and I want to reveal it for you to improve your chess skills. Let's start right now. Gelfand played as white, Kramnik played as black, and they went to the very well-known line of Slav defense, the Mirana system. And in this position, after knight d7, queen c2, bishop d6, the main move for white is still bishop goes to d3, but Gelfand used to play g4, an aggressive and interesting approach for white. The idea of this that after knight takes g4, white wants to play rook g1, keeping the eye on the pawn on g7. Basically, black have an interesting move queen f6 with a counter-attack to the knight on f3. The position is really wild, it's a plenty of theory, but generally it's really good for black. Besides, Kramnik decided to play not the main, he played bishop b4 in this position. His idea is obvious. On the g5 he wants to jump with the knight on e4, that's why he created the pin on this side. Gelfand tried to play bishop d2 to unpin immediately, queen e7, Kramnik trying to keep it close, and after like a3, I think maybe g5 was a bit more consistent on the way Gelfand decided to play, but still a3 is possible. After a3 takes, Kramnik still keep it close with a b6. He wants to play bishop b7 or bishop a6 at some moment, just developing the pieces. Here, Gelfand played bishop d3. The move that computer doesn't like, but from the human side it looks like pretty okay. Bishop a6 now in this position. And here, maybe g5 was really the best for white, but they decided to play queen e4. The moment is that they're attacking here, and they're protecting the pawn on c4. Still d takes c4. Now queen takes a6 and c takes d3. So everything is going okay for black, we can see this. After queen d3, they just played the castle short in this position. And I personally like the black situation, because the king on g8 is secure, even the pawn is on g4, it's not hard for us. It's a question where the white king would go, and we still keep our eye on some central breakthrough in very near future. White decided to play g5, knight d5 and bishop d2 to save the bishop, and it's a nice question that you better ask yourself as often as it's possible. What does my opponent want to do? And if we will go this way, we can recognize that white really wants to play e4 and kick the knight from d5. That's why we need to stabilize the position on the d5 to create this kind of outpost for the black. That's why f5 strategically looks very great. It's even not the best line by the computer, but from the human side, I bet you it's the best move. Now we want to prevent the e4. For sure, g takes f6 is not working, just queen f6, and whites have a collapse on the f line now. So that's why, like on e4 immediately, in this position, I can take, and make the same collapse on the f line. Why not? Right? So we have our knight on d5 staying calmly, and we're keeping our eye to play c5 or e5 in the near future, creating an outpost, a very typical strategy. Gelfand decided to play in this position castle long. That's a very risky move, basically, to put the king on this side. The opposite castles means that attacks are coming now. So c5, very logical. King b1, also logical for white to move out the king from the c line. And how to continue the attack now? You can basically put the pause on the video and try to think by your own before I will show you the idea. The fastest idea here is to play b5 immediately. It's not about rook c8 and c4 because it's a wasting of the time. b5 is much way faster because if white don't take the pawn on b5, we will still play c4, b4, c3 and so on. We will make a tempo economy on this. White in the game decided to take on b5, which looks very risky. Rook goes b8, queen a5 and rook b3. I really like how Kramnik playing this game. It's very naturally logical. He just wants to double up on the b line and continue the attack on the queen side. And here white made the move that they will regret about. The move is king a2. That's basically not obvious that that's a mistake, but much better was to play king a1. We will see in the future, the further consequences will show us why the king on a2 is so bad. Rook fb8, rook b1, and e5 now played by Kramnik. Another good shot. Now the idea that he just taking extra space and trying to shut down the position of white. If white will try to exchange here, we will just take, queen e5, and now basically the pawn on b2 is very, very poor, so it's really no way to save it for white, and we are winning because on knight, bishop b4, some tactics we can just even take on b4, right? King takes b3, c4 leads to the checkmate. It's amazing. King takes c4, queen e4, king goes b3, queen c2. Some amazing checkmate could happen in this position. So returning back on the move to the move e5, Gelfand decided to play rook c1, which looks logical. He's keeping the last piece to the game, the rook from h1, to protect the queen side. Queen s6. That's a side idea of the move e5 because now it's like we're playing in bowling, right? So we're keeping the eye to the king on a2. A nice move. King a1. White need to waste a tempo and just e takes d4. And what to do now is white? It's basically they're hopeless. On e takes d4 for sure I can just take the knight, and it is what it is, extra piece. So that's why it's not working. So why try to play rook takes c5? It's a nice idea of defense because after knight c5, queen c5, white's trying to change the character of the position, right? To sacrifice the rook to have another type of position and to force black for the hard decisions. It's a common way of defense in poor positions. But Kramnik is on the high. He played here knight c3. The idea is to continue the attack. For sure on bishop takes c3 I will just take on c3 and that's like demolishing the king of white, his position. What to do else? It's really tough. So he tried to play knight d4 and now it allows the great combination. Rook takes b2. You can calculate the sequences by your own by putting the pose now because the next move of black will impress you. After rook takes b2, black just played queen a2. A simple but very cute tactics. What to do now? After rook takes b1, after rook takes a2, I'm sorry, rook b1 is the checkmate. It is what it is. That's why after queen a2, Gelfand resigned. A very nice game played by Kramnik. Lots of interesting moments, creating the outposts, attacking on the king, and so on. A beautiful combination in the end. I hope that you enjoyed this game as me, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we will see each other on my new episodes.